Welcome back to the channel. It's time to talk about the very best comic books of the week, and it's a week of sad goodbyes, but also saying hello to another great series. And here with me, as always, is Drew from Comics League. How you doing, Drew?
Doing great, Wes. It's Free Comic Book Day. Indiana Comic Con is going on, but I still make time to talk about great comics. So let's talk about some great comics this week.
Well, I do appreciate that one. And let's talk about the big debut, DC Comics Shazam #1, Mark Waid, Dan Mora on this one. And it feels like the magic is definitely there for Shazam #1. This is really an introductory comic book. We do get some elements of future stories that are going to happen, but this is running you through the paces of what it's like to be Billy Batson Shazam. He's a YouTuber now. He's covering Shazam, what it's like to have the magic powers, what it's like to be in school, what it's like to have these brothers and sisters and all these things like that. And it just feels so grounded in Shazam while not being wholly a family book, which I was very concerned about going into this one. And Dan Mora continues to just blow it out the park. I can't believe how good this looks.
The amount of projects he's working on right now and the quality he's producing on these projects is ridiculous because, I mean, you had World's Finest, Once and Future, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and TMNT. All at once, he's working on these books and quality every single issue. And this one, this comic, Shazam #1, this was just pure fun. I had so much fun reading this. I was grinning ear to ear reading this the whole time. You get talking dinosaurs, UFOs, bowling, eating junk food, and talking Tawny the tiger. I loved it. I mean, granted, there are a couple times in this where Mark Waid, he'll toss in some like new slang that kids are using. Like it's a moment of the "Hello, my fellow kids," that meme. But I could look past it because I'm having too much fun reading this. These two are the dream team right now. And these are the guys I would love to have working on anything and everything. I can't recommend this series enough. I can't recommend this issue enough. This should be the flagship for the dawn of DC that they're that they're lauding. This is that banner book. This is what it should be. This is what everything should represent. New beginnings for everyone to come on board and to have fun.
Well, it's interesting you bring up Dawn of DC, and I think that's kind of one of the issues here. Is there's a lot of things that have that Dawn of DC trade dress on it, and I don't really know what Dawn of DC is. When it's at its best, it's Josh Williamson, on that first Superman issue, it's that Green Arrow debut, it's maybe Shazam #1 here, but it's basically like 2 or 3 writers that are doing all that work, and everything else around these characters and the entire universe sucks. Besides that, I don't think that you can have a big changing of the guard or have people feel different about their universe if you can only get that from Mark Waid or Josh Williamson or perhaps Jeremy Adams.
Yeah, you're right. And with that big banner, that big change you're talking about, a lot of these other titles, there's been no change. Stories have stayed exactly the same. So it really, I mean, if you're going to have this banner, you should be more selective on it, like where it's going to, or just don't have the banner, or save it for one or two, like Shazam #1. This is very much the banner book, like or a Superman #1 or a Green Arrow #1, not Catwoman, certainly not Batman right now, not Detective. I mean, this is the flagship book right here. Mark Waid, he knows what he's doing. Dan Mora is killing it on the art as well. I cannot recommend this enough. This is the jumping on point right now for anyone if you want to know about Captain Marvel.
And if you're DC Comics and you want to fix your universe, start paying attention to what Mark Waid, Josh Williamson, Jeremy Adams are doing and realizing what everyone else is failing on. That's how you fix DC Comics.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're doing an event, make sure there are changes across the board with the other titles, brand new jumping on points, not just continuing the stories where nothing changes.
Well, let's get over to the indie comic books. We have another hello, but we've also got some goodbyes to say. First up, Indie Comics, Animal Castle, Volume 2, Issue #1 from Ablaze Comics, Xavier Dorison, Felix Delep on art here. You were a big proponent of the Verse series, very much in the vein of Animal Farm back in the day, one of the most influential novels of modern times.
This issue, this packs a narrative punch, just like last year's. And so we get the origin of Silvio, the bull, and it's a rather sad one at that. But we also see that even with his #1 now dead, Silvio is still in charge. Things really haven't changed for them. The cycle continues. It does not. Things do not stop. But for everyone below them, below the leadership, things have not gotten that much better. Granted, spring maybe around the corner, but things haven't gotten better. The other animals distrust the cat now, who led that revolution. and say that they wouldn't be in this amount of danger if she hadn't done what she had done in Volume 1. But there are still her supporters who want to dethrone Silvio and put her in his seat. She doesn't want the castle and wants to build something better in its place. But we also learn another tragic part in the backstory of Miss B, the cat. But and Miss B also gets another valuable piece of information from the Azalar, the wise Gandhi-like rat. I like that character. There's more in the story as well. I don't want to spoil it, but revolution is the word that comes to mind with this story. I love this issue from beginning to end. It's very much a different comic, and I highly encourage everyone to seek out the Volume 1 as well. The creative team, they're constructing a masterpiece here. Please do check this out. This is very different and very unique and very special.
If you're not familiar with the Blaze comics, they basically go out there and curate the best comic books that you can find basically in Europe. Although they have been doing some stuff with like manga and manhwa, then bringing them over, translating for the US audience. This is one of those comic books, and they do a great job with that. Let's go over to something a little bit more mainstream. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TMNT Volume 2, Number 5 from Boom Studios. Ryan Parrott with Dan Mora on art once again. This is a great-looking comic book. If you're a fan of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TMNT, this is must-read stuff. But it was also in the news because we got the first reveal of what race the Turtles would be if they were human.
People losing their crap over it. Okay, clearly you did not read the comic. You just saw something someone posted and said, this is what they look like. It's about time. No, this is just an illusion. Nothing real there. But yeah, anyway, this issue was so much fun. It's the final issue. Will the Rangers and the Turtles survive? Can they trust Shredder? What new Zords, what new uniforms will be made? Can Dan Mora bring it home art-wise? You got to read to find out. There's a great. I love the ending to this as well. It's not so much an ending as a continuation, possibly, hopefully. You guys do got to check this out. If you love fun comics, if you love the Turtles, if you love Power Rangers, you love Mech Zords, please do check this out.
Definitely check that one out. Dan Mora is kicking butt and taking names. He's on World's Finest, Shazam, and obviously he was on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TMNT crossover book. Let's go over to Marvel Comics. We've got some good Marvel series here to talk about and a lot of good buys coming in the next few moments. First up, I'm definitely recommending Demon Wars Scarlet Sin number 1. Peach Momoko writing and illustrating that. Obviously, she's much more better known as a cover artist within the United States comic book industry itself. Here she's writing and illustrating it. I think she really proves that she is an interior artist and a phenomenal visual storyteller. This is the final chapter of this story that she's been doing, where we're taking Marvel characters and Marvel stories that we've kind of all known and loved, and then transferring them into more like Japanese parables and stuff like that. There is much less plot in this particular issue because it's the ending, and mostly it's an enormous fight with all the characters that we've been getting to know, these versions of the Marvel characters within these like Demon Days, Demon Wars stories that Peach Momoko has been putting out for about 2 years now. It's absolutely fantastic. It looks like $1 million. I know you didn't jump on board because you're not a big fan of her cover art style, but I'm telling you, you missed out, sir. This thing is absolutely must read. Although, if you didn't read it in real time, the titling and numbering make no sense. They're all number 1 issues.
That's one thing I understood when some of the employees at Comics Lead told me, like, oh yeah, each one's a whole other number 1. I'm like, how does that work? How is that not going to be confusing by the time it's collected? And if you're just jumping in on it, how are you not going to be confused? There's a lot of questions, but I do understand she has an awful lot of fans. There's no doubt about that. People love her art style. I'll commend her for that. And I do have to commend her for this. No, I haven't read it, but she's gotten a lot of praise for it. Good for her. I kind of compare it to what Neil Gaiman did. Like it was like 1608, like 20 years ago he did with one of the Kuberts, I believe, on the art. Yeah, I do like that, taking our characters from contemporary times, putting them in another setting. I like that. That's a fun take. Maybe I'll check it out in the future. We'll see what happens.
It's time to say goodbye to another great series. Joe Fixit, number 5, Peter David. Yildari Senior on this one. Really a Joe Fixit Hulk book in name only. This is a Peter Parker Spider-Man comic book with Joe Fixit as a really important side character or supporting character in it. But I still loved every single issue of this. This is balls to the wall, fun, action-based comic book storytelling. No, it's not the deepest thing in the world. There aren't a whole lot of mysteries to unravel. We get to the end here, and you've got the entire Spider-Man Rogues Gallery going nuts as Joe Fixit and Spider-Man try to save the day, and just a really wonderful time in a comic book.
Like Shazam, just a fun action-centered comic, and I can't ask for more than that. That's what I look for reading a comic book. Fun escapism, and that's what this comic is. Fun escapism. And yeah, great fights in this comic, especially with Electro. What Peter David does with Electro in this, I really dug that. And by the end of it, you have a smile on your face. You realize this was just a fun story. And Peter David, like I said, not in the best of health. He's telling just a fun, action-packed story, better than a lot of the other writers are right now at the big two, at most other publishing companies. If you want to read a fun whole comic with Spider-Man and Rogues Gallery galore, please do check out Joe Fixit, guys. It's just straight up fun.
Definitely hoping for a sequel series to that one as well. Let's talk about another series. It's actually not ending, though. Moon Knight number 23, Jed MacKay, Alessandro Cappuccio, co-starring Venom this week. I didn't know that I wanted an Alessandro Cappuccio illustrated Venom comic book, but I absolutely do after seeing this. The man took to the character like a duck to water, just looks absolutely gorgeous, which is what we've come to expect from a Alessandro Cappuccio illustrated Moon Knight book. But I thought his Venom stuff might have looked even cooler.
It does, and there's a splash. I believe there's a splash page in it. How he illustrates Venom with the chains. That is the best this new iteration of Venom has looked since Stegman and Donny Cates were on the book well over a year, maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, Alessandro, I really think he is getting much better as an interior artist, and I think he will be like one of the go-to guys in the near future as like the artist. But yeah, this story, once again, just all-out action-centered comic with Dylan Brock as Venom and Moon Knight. There are these villains coming to trying to capture Dylan, but Moon Knight takes Dylan under sanctuary, and it doesn't go too well for a lot of the villains. And so they do go hunting down for some of the bad guys afterwards in the comic, and naturally doesn't go according to plan. This really feels like Moon Knight veering back on course as compared to where it's been the past several issues. If you want a good jumping on point for Moon Knight, this is the issue. You're going to have a lot of fun with this. I think it's Jed MacKay and Alessandro Cappuccio. They're killing it with this issue. Best Venom has looked in a very long time. Do check this out.
Absolutely exciting stuff. And this is really sad. We have to say the goodbye to the only readable Avengers book we've had for the past year or so. Avengers War Across Time, number 5, Paul Levitz, Alan Davis. Whoever's going to be the next Avengers writer needs to pick this up and actually see how an Avengers comic book is supposed to be written. Don't pay attention to that crappy Jason Aaron stuff. I think that event is still ongoing. This was much better in only 5 issues. Looks like old school Marvel comic books. Feels like an old school Avengers story. And I think that's why it's been such a great alternative to the other Avengers comics out right now.
This series was just, once again, all out fun, action-packed and fun. You get the Avengers written like how they first appeared in the 60s, and it's terrific. Paul Levitz and Alan Davis, they killed it. Alan Davis, another legend in the industry. He's killing it on the art and every page, every panel. What was fun about this is that this is the final showdown, quote unquote, final showdown with Kang. But the Avengers, they also see some glimpses into their future as well. It's so kinetic, well illustrated, terrific dialogue. This is textbook comic books and Avengers. If you, like you said, Wes, if you want to see how to do the Avengers correctly, this is it right here. You don't have to go back any further. Just stop right here. Please do check this out, guys. Avengers War Across Time, number 5. This is the best Avengers book right now.
Now let's talk about another final issue from DC Comics. Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo, number 7, Mark Silvestri writing and illustrating this one. It's just been a breath of fresh air. We actually get the real Harley Quinn in this comic book series. Who knew that they could actually write Harley Quinn correct again? This is an all-out action-packed kind of ending here, for the most part, until you get to the epilogue, which I thought was interesting. The idea that Batman has to protect his identity is clever, but it's so long. It ceases to become an epilogue, and it's another issue stuck on the end of it.
Part of me is thinking that Mark was planning for 8 issues or so, and like they said, "Oh no, you're gonna wrap this up in 7 issues," and it's like, "Oh crap, I'm going to cram all this in to the back half of this comic," and that's what it really felt odd because, like you said, the first half of this comic, it is all action, baby. It is amazing, but the last half, like I said, it's just we got to wrap this up now. It's like, oh crap, I don't get another issue. Damn. But yeah, like you said, his plans for like how to protect his identity, I buy it. I can see Bruce Wayne doing this. It makes sense. And but the art in this, my God, Mark Silvestri, I cannot wait to see this guy at Dallas Fan Expo. I'm going to have so many of these issues for him to buy, for him to sign for me. I'm hoping he's got some of the OA, because I want to see some of the original art for these pages, because I can't begin to imagine how good they look blown up to 11 by 17. But if you guys have not been reading this, and if you don't want to get invested in the member berries from Batman number 900, please do check out Batman Joker, the Deadly Duo. This is true Batman right here.
I forgot to mention this earlier when I was talking about the comic book. One of the things I like about what Mark Silvestri did with the character here is you've got this new villain, Sim. She's like a zombie or whatever. And Batman is not able to beat her with a gadget. He's not able to beat her just by using some stupid Deus Ex Machina. He actually has to rise up to the occasion and put his body on the line and meet her physically. And I thought that was a good change for the character, because so often he doesn't have to do anything to win anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, or face against a female character hand to hand anymore, besides maybe sparring with Catwoman and get his ass kicked. But yeah, this was very much a breath of fresh air with Batman, and I really do like that. And this is a character who's been around a long time. He's got to have that, and I welcome it. Every fan should be welcoming this. Every fan should be enjoying this. If you haven't read this, I'm not gonna say shame on you, but please do check this out, guys. It is much better than the main continuity Batman story from Chip Zdarsky right now, or Detective, or anything else, maybe outside of World's Finest. This is one of the best right now of Batman.
Absolutely. And we're saying goodbye to so many great series, the Demon Wars, Demon Days stuff. We've got Joe Fixit, Avengers, War Across Time, Batman and Joker, the Deadly Duo. All are done now. I think there was the TMNT Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I think, is over as well. Yeah. So we're saying goodbye to so many good comic books this week. The final comic book we will talk about from DC is not the end of the road, but we're almost there. Flash 798, Jeremy Adams with Fernando Passeron, Auclair Albert, and Will Robson on art here. I wish there weren't so many artists. I wish Fernando Passeron was able to just finish up the series here. This is a pretty fun issue. We do get the birth of the latest Wally West clan member. I think his name is Waid West, something like that. And it turns out Granny Goodness is the nurse, and there's a kidnapping, and we got to get a whole team together. There's a lot of fun here. It has everything that makes Jeremy Adams' version of the Flash work. It's wholesome, it's family oriented, and you like the relationships between the husband and the wife and the kids and everything like that. And it felt like he's staying true to himself in this issue, and I really enjoyed it.
By the time you get to the end of this, he's throwing the kitchen sink in this story. By the time it gets so crazy by the end of this issue. But like you said, the one drawback to this is the art, unfortunately, because when you get those first few beautiful pages with the childbirth and everything, but then when Our Man shows up, it is a completely different artist, does not fit style wise, and then it just keeps jumping back and forth. I'm like, why? This is insane. How you could keep doing these different artists on here. It just, like you said, the Fernando, he should have been able to finish this art, which is a shame. But it's a fun, crazy, family-centered story, and I do encourage you to please do check this out. This is a series where the family essence does belong here, not with like a lot of the other books are trying to invest the family element. It does very much fit here. It's a very fun read. It's crazy. It's wild. It's weird. Do check out The Flash, guys.
This is a fun show. We actually recommended 10 comic books. That's definitely a good week. Unfortunately, 4 or 5 of them won't be available for the next time we get to this week and the next month. But we shall see what happens. And I do want to say thank you very much to Drew.
Thank you for having me here. It's fun once again.
I know a lot of people are like, well, screw Mark Waid. It doesn't matter if the comic book's good. I'm not going to support it. Well, I say you are foolish, sir. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to see the other series that Mark Waid and Dan Mora have worked on. And all the reasons I pointed out, it's damn near perfect. If you can't forgive Mark Waid and get into this comic book, you probably will never want to give Shazam a chance, but I think you should. Let me check this video out right here. There's also a link in the video description.